Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me in this video. This video is going to be a lecture summary for the module called BMM 3003, Introduction to Business Operations and Management. My name is Hajirah Farooq, and I'll be going through the week 4, 5, and 6 of this module within this video. So let's start. We started off the week 4 lesson by revising the learning outcomes, uh, which are four. There are four of the learning outcomes. The first one is to demonstrate an understanding of business operations and management. The second one is to explain the key concepts of effective operations strategy. Third one is explaining the role and scope of business management. And the last one is contextualization of knowledge within a real business. Moving on, we discussed that today, in the fourth week, we were going to discuss the second learning outcome, which is explanation of the key concepts of effective operations strategy. And moving further, we discussed that by the end of the session, the students will be able to learn about the key concepts of effective operations strategy and the basic departments in an organization. So we started off with the definition of business operations management by Chase, Jacobs, and Aquilano. That business operations management refers to the discipline and practices involved in effectively overseeing and optimizing the processes, resources, and activities within an organization to achieve operational efficiency and effectiveness. It involves planning, organizing, and controlling various operational activities to ensure smooth and efficient functioning of the business. Moving on, we watched a video about what is business operations management, which you can find in the week 4 lecture slides available on Moodle. And then we went on to discuss the objectives of operations management, where we discussed that the primary objective of operations management is to basically optimize the production and delivery of goods and services. It also involves making strategic decisions about the design and management of processes, the allocation of resources, and the coordination of activities to maximize productivity, quality, and customer satisfaction while minimizing the costs and waste. Moving further, we discussed what is operations strategy, and after that, we watched a video regarding what is operations strategy for better understanding of the students. And moving forward, we discussed some key operation strategies, which include competitive priorities, capacity and facilities planning, supply chain management, process design and technology selection, quality management, human resource management, performance measurement, and continuous improvement. Moving further, we discussed each one of these key operation strategies in further detail. After that, we had a group activity where we discussed about the main functions or departments in an organization, and then we further discussed about the same topic. We discussed that the main functions of an organization are three, which include the finance department, the operations department, and the marketing department. So here you can see a diagram where we're discussing the same thing. So it says that an organization consists of the finance, operations, and marketing department. The finance department ensures and allocates financial resources. The operations department deals with the production of goods and services, and the marketing department assesses consumer needs and sells and promotes goods or services. So this was all about the week 4. Moving on to the week 5. And in the 5th week, again, we went on to Moodle, did a few activities, pre and post activities. Then we discussed the learning outcomes again, and we were supposed to cover the third learning outcome, which is explanation of the role and scope of business management in the 5th week. So we discussed that by the end of this session, our students will be able to understand about team working and team building, principles of leadership, and how to be a good leader. So we discussed about what is a team. So a team is a group of individuals who work together to achieve a common goal or objective. And then we further discussed the same topic. Then we discussed the differences between a group and a team. So teams are usually interdependent, working together to emphasize each other's strengths and complete a common goal, whereas the groups utilize individual strengths to get work done and members focus on their own goals. So we further discussed the groups versus teams topic, and then we had a little discussion about what are the different stages for team building and which one do you think is the most important one. So then we discussed the stages of team building, which include forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And then we discussed a little bit about team spirit. We discussed what is synergy. We discussed that what does synergy mean to the students and how can it be achieved while working in a team. So yeah, moving further, we discussed effective team task alignment to attain the agreed goal or target. And then we discussed about what is a leader. And we discussed if the students think that the team needs a leader or not and why. So this discussion went on for the next few slides, and then we discussed how can a person be a good leader. And another discussion was about manager versus leader. What is the difference between the two? And then we also discussed a few examples about team working. And moving on, we discussed some characteristics of a good leader, which include effective communication, responsibility and accountability, long-term thinking, self-motivation, confidence, people skills, emotional intelligence, open-mindedness, ethics, optimism, humility, character, and passion. Then we watched a video about team building. And after that, we discussed interpersonal skills of a good leader, which include leadership, team building, motivation, communication, influencing, decision making, political and cultural awareness, negotiation, trust building, conflict management, coaching. And yep, that was all about the 5th week. Moving on to the 6th week. So in the 6th week, we discussed the organizational ethics and social responsibilities. So we discussed the learning outcome 1, 2, and 3. The learning outcome 1 for this slide particularly was demonstrate an understanding about business ethics, and then to explain the scope of corporate social responsibility, and then contextualization of knowledge within a real business. So we discussed about the evaluation of the students' knowledge about corporate ethics and social responsibilities. So we asked the students a few questions regarding what are the organizational ethics or corporate ethics. Why do we need ethical business practices? What would happen if organizational ethics are not practiced? What is the meaning of corporate social responsibility? Why do businesses have to be socially responsible? And so on. Then we watched a little video about organizational ethics, and then we discussed about the understanding of organizational ethics and ethical practices within a business. So we discussed questions like what is the reasonable price for a product or service, and how do we feel when a reasonable price was charged for a product or service, or how do we feel when an unreasonable price was charged for a product or service. Then we discussed that the word reasonable, is that subjective or objective? Then we discussed the difference between equality and equity. After that, we discussed about when a person runs a business, would they like to operate equally or equitably? So Basically, this lesson was all about teaching the students about how a business should be run ethically, uh, internally as well as externally. Then we discussed the definition of ethics, which, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is the rules and principles and standards of deciding what is morally right or wrong when working. And according to BBC, ethics is a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and lead their lives. Ethics cover the uh, following dilemmas that include how to live a good life, our rights and responsibilities, the language of right and wrong, moral decisions, what is good and bad, etc. Then we discussed some practical examples of ethics and ethical business. And then we tried to understand the social responsibility of any business. And moving on, we watched a video on the social responsibility. Then we discussed the corporate social responsibility and the benefits of social responsibility, which include loyalty, morality, awareness, environment, and behavior. Then we discussed some organizations that are involved in corporate social responsibility, also known as CSR. So these companies include uh, 3M, Abbott, Acer, Adidas, Air France, Airbus, Amazon, Barilla, Cisco, Carlsberg, BBC, Canon, Ford, Fujifilms, Lego, Nike, Lenovo, L'Oreal, M&S, Philips, Sony. So such big brands, all of them that you can see on the screen right now as well. They are all very well known for their very good reputation when it comes to corporate social responsibility. Then we had a group activity with the students where they had to discuss with their team members and present to the class the following in a selected business of your choice. So they had to discuss about the ethical business practices, or what does the ethical business practices mean to their business, and what are the ethical standards that they can practice in the selected business of their choice, and what does social responsibility mean to their business, and so on. So then they had to watch a video, and then there was a discussion about the post session and the questions and answer session. And then, yeah, that was all about it. So thank you so very much, guys, for staying with me in this video. If you need any further information about this module, you can log on to your Moodle account and you can find out all of these slides and further information about this module. So stay tuned and thank you so much for listening.